Well, thank you very much, TEDxEastHamton. We're super psyched to be presenting with such amazing speakers today. My name is Michael Radparvar. I'm with my brother, David Radparvar. And we're going to be talking about what we see as the economy of new values. So let's talk about what's going on today. There's a lot of buzzwords that I think are being repeated on a regular basis right now, and we just kind of want to highlight a couple. Organic, sustainable, renewable, fair trade, clean tech, biodegradable, local, ecological, eco-friendly, sharing, DIY, recycled, and efficient. And the question we want to know is, are these terms, do they actually mean something, or are they just hype? Are they like the flavor of the week? Or is it a Hollywood sensationalized slingo that's being used, or is there an actual sustainable change going on?
So are people really shopping at the farmer's market just so they can go and tweet about it? Or are they actually there because they're scared shitless of what's going on? Sorry, scared shitless of what's going on, and they need a 7-year-old girl doing a science project comparing organic produce versus local produce versus regular produce to understand. I mean, this girl's 7 years old. She has 100,000 views on YouTube with a science project when she realized that pesticides and a cancer-causing agent in a potato prevented it from growing any sprouts at all. So is it really, next slide, is it really just, is there a hippie movement going on, or can we carry out these values that the hippies established, minus the acid, plus some funding, and plus some social technology to create a real lasting change? Is this the generation that can do that? So, or are we really just, an overprivileged, underexperienced, overconfident, bohemian revivalists, deferring reality under the banner of soul searching and social impact?
So the question that we want to ask right now, just to kind of set the stage, is how many people in this room either know someone or have themselves had the desire recently to kind of like pick up from what they've been doing in the past and do something that's either more meaningful, more connected to their values? Just a quick raise of hand if you know someone or anyone who've ever had this done. So that's pretty much everyone in the room who's thought of, I want to make some change. Like, this is not working out. What can I do about it? And the story, a lot of times we see, kind of goes something like this. Very well educated person in a secure job decides that they want to go travel a little bit. They find an NGO that they really connect with maybe, and they create some socks or sweater or something. They bring it back and they find a way to sell. And this is happening on a very kind of grassroots level, but we're seeing it happen very, very frequently. And the question that we ask ourselves as designers also, is this impact scalable? Is this impact scalable? And before we answer that question, I think that we should say, why are we in a right position to even approach this question right now?
So Mike and I, about 3 years ago, decided we wanted to work on what was a side project at the time called Holstee. And this is a screenshot of a video that we captured on our walk into work about 3 years ago. We had both decided over the weekend that we were going to, we made a pact that on Monday we're going to go in and tell our bosses 2-week notice. We both had really stable jobs and by many measures awesome jobs, and we were super fortunate, but there was something unfulfilling, something that was missing for our lives, and we felt compelled to do something about it. And so sort of on a whim, without really a business plan, other than knowing that we had about 3 months runway to kind of figure out what we want to do with our lives. And with the backup plan that no matter what happened, it would just be the best summer of our lives. And worst case scenario, we'd just get jobs again. So about 3 years later, luckily we're still here. But in preparation for this, one of the first things we did is we sat down on the steps of Union Square, and I'm not sure if any of you have seen this manifesto posted anywhere before. It's been posted about we've estimated it's been viewed about 15 million times online by now. We've been really fortunate, and people have really resonated with it. But these are the first things we wrote down when we were trying to figure out, okay, we have a ton of raw energy right now. We just quit our jobs. We're not really sure what we're doing, but we feel great about it. We feel like we've just won something back, like we've just earned something incredible. In reality, we didn't earn anything. We just stopped working. But it was the most liberating feeling. And we wanted to really capture that, and we never wanted to forget the feeling we had. We never wanted to forget why we made that decision. So we took a moment and we just wrote down what was literally already on the tip of our tongues and on the top of our minds. And it went something like this.
This is your life. Do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't like your job, quit. If you don't have enough time, stop watching TV. If you're looking for the love of your life, stop. They'll be looking for you, they'll be waiting for you when you start doing the things you love. Start doing, life is simple. Stop overanalyzing. All emotions are beautiful. When you eat, appreciate every last bite. Open your mind, arms, and heart to new things and people. We are united in our differences. Ask the next person you see what their passion is and share your inspiring dream with them. Travel often. Getting lost will help you find yourself. Some opportunities only come once. Seize them. Life is about the people you meet and the things you create with them. So go out and start creating. Life is short. Live your dream and share your passion. This is the lifestyle that we wanted, that when we sat down, those are the things that we've realized we never want to forget these things that we're realizing are super important. Now that we have a completely clean slate in front of us. And they inspired a lot of lifestyle changes for us. So now here's a scenario. We've quit our jobs. We don't have a regular salary. We still have the expenses of living in Manhattan. So how are we going to kind of adjust our lifestyle to do that? And what we found is, well, we can't afford to go out to restaurants as frequently, so we started to learn how to cook. And we always, in the past, we always wrote off the fact that we live in a small East Village apartment with like a teeny kitchen, so we can't really cook in there. But when we went to survival mode, we went back to our parents, our grandparents, like, what was that great Persian dish that we cooked growing up? And like, how can we learn how to make that? And now we cook almost every day in our office, and we go outside and we sit with a picnic for about 30 or 45 minutes, and we just kind of chat. And it's those types of things that have really allowed us to shift our lifestyle in a very dramatic way. Another thing to note about when you quit your job and are in a startup, a lot of times you don't really have health care. So that makes you a lot more aware of being in tune with your own health and how you have to take things into consideration that you didn't always in the past. And you have to, just as Josh pointed out, you have to be very in tune with your mind and your body, because it's a much better incentive to not try and do the fix-it model if you don't actually have health care. You have to do a lot more preventative health for yourself. So you can't anymore like go to a dentist and kind of joke that you're actually flossing every day. You actually should do it, because if not, you're kind of screwed. Or like, for example, we started biking everywhere. You know, of course we cut taxis. That was the obvious cut. But even like riding the subway, we realized we can get around the city much faster for a lot less money, and we can be outside and get exercise at the same time. Like we couldn't understand why we wouldn't do that, but it just wasn't something that was like totally on top of my mind when we were working in like a much more kind of structured, conventional workplace where we had to go with like a button down and we'd walk in sweaty, and it was a lot. I don't know, it wasn't quite as easy. So the next question that we want to present, to go back to, is...
Yeah, so what was the impact? So these are a lot of lifestyle changes, but what was the real impact of those changes? And what we realized was the true impact was in the values. The values that we learned from those lifestyle changes. And those values were viral, those values were long-lasting, those values were free to share, and they transcended boundaries. And we just learned so much through those values, those lifestyle changes. The same way that, you know, the example Mike made about the yuppie who sort of quit his job and went to a developing world and start a new business and had to change his life. There's absolute value being created by that business he just started, undeniably, but the real impact come from the values that were instilled in him in that process, in that journey of reassessing his life, his lifestyle, and what he was looking for. And those values, we feel, are the true impact.
So in preparing for this talk, I was speaking with one of my teammates, Mikey Cavalis, and he made a point that I thought was really fascinating. He said, what I love about Holstee is, you know, we have a great product that, you know, we really take into consideration the production of when we were working with an NGO, for example, to create this wallet that's made from plastic bags, that a lot of the revenue goes back to supporting healthcare and education initiatives in Delhi. But the product is really the byproduct of the overall purpose of Holstee. What the real benefit or the real value is the values that we're transcending, and that's the whole package. When you get the wallet, you get those other elements that, you know, the kind of mindful elements that we put into every product that we design. But the real thing that we're sharing and that we want to share with everyone else are those values that are behind it and behind why we created Holstee. And we think that is the real kind of meat of why we created this company.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time that someone comes into contact and spends $1, they're literally voting. And one of the things that we're realizing, especially with our generation, but in general, more powerful a lot of times and more direct impact than actually voting. And I don't discount voting at all, it's super important. But every time you spend $1, every time you're sending a signal up the production line, you're sending a signal up the fulfillment line, you're sending a signal throughout the world that you are embracing that idea, that you are a proud supporter of that idea. So every single time, it makes a huge impact. And those values that come with those products, those are guiding how you spend those dollars. And we find that to be the real scalable, global impact of this cultural change that we're experiencing right now.
So as we were defining, like, what does that mean exactly, and how is this changing from where we've been to where we're going, we found that in the past, everyone was looking for the best value. It was like, how can I get the best bang for my buck? When I go out and I buy anything, tools, a jacket, food, I want to get the best bang for my buck. But what we see happening on kind of like pockets around the world, and it's starting to spread more and more into like larger demographics of people, is they want to value is always going to be part of that, but it's going to be a part of who is really aligned with my values and who can I connect with and when I'm buying things. And we find that that is going to be really the future of where markets are going, because you can't be in the game anymore if you're not genuine. It's so easy to call out people who are trying to act like something that they're really not. And those people we find and we not only hope, but we really believe they're going to be called out. And anyone who kind of leads the way in this, we feel that they'll be first. They'll have a lot of advantage in the market going forward.
So we're going to end on a quote that we really love, and it's, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you alive, and go do that, because more than anything, the world needs people that are alive. And with that, find what makes you alive, find those values that you align with, and then go share them with the world, embrace them in other companies, and change the world in the process. Thank you.
Thanks.